I know the plain meaning of the word spun and fed.
That's fine.
And I know the
and
plain
he's
and I know the plain
Tucker
meaning
Carlson, and he's enjoying it and smiling and saying what Tucker Carlson
and
wants
I know
to
the
hear.
plain
Of course,
meaning
that's
of the
fine.
word.
That's why I laugh.
know the plain meaning of the analogy, saying this is checkers, not.
This is so silly. So then find me evidence that Joe Biden acted on behalf of Burisma when he called for the firing of Shokin. Find me evidence of that. And there is none.
I'm getting.
I just
to
don't
that.
like. Yes, okay. If you want to nitpick and pick out specific, isolated snippets of conversation between Devin Archer and Tucker Carlson, who's the least good faith actor in the history of human journalism, fine, great. We can have this conversation, but it's not getting to the point. And the point, I thought, was to evaluate this charge that Joe Biden had acted corruptly in regard to Shokin and Burisma. And there's no evidence of that. And Devin Archer's own sworn testimony undercuts your argument, regardless of his using the word spun or.
All right, guys. So we got to talk about this pretty fascinating debate between Noam Dorman, who is the host of Comedy Cellar. Now, I'm not super familiar with him, but he is debating Philip Bump of the Washington Post about the Hunter Biden situation and whether or not Joe Biden is involved with Hunter Biden's business deals. Now, here's the thing. We've already went over all the circumstantial evidence involving Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. Okay, we went over the text messages. We went over the emails. We went over the bank statements. We went over the fact that Joe Biden admitted that he withhold money from Ukraine in exchange for Shokin getting fired, despite the fact that the Obama administration didn't want Shokin fired. They actually liked Shokin. We went over Devin Archer and his testimony. Okay, we went over the fact that Joe Biden also decided not to sanction a Russian oligarch who gave his son money, okay, despite sanctioning and everybody that's associated with Russia when they invaded Ukraine. Okay, we went over the fact that Joe Biden flew out Hunter Biden in Air Force Two as VP to China to have business meetings with Hunter Biden's business partners. We also went over the fact that Joe Biden had attended business meetings with Hunter Biden and his business partners. We went over the fact that apparently the White House was meeting with Hunter Biden's business partners on multiple occasions. We went over the fact that there's an alleged FBI form out there. It's unverified, but the FBI form basically suggests that Joe and Hunter Biden took a bribe from Burisma, okay, money in exchange for having Shokin fired. Again, the only thing we don't have yet is clear smoking gun proof that, hey, Joe Biden took payments from Hunter Biden, okay? Hunter Biden gave Joe Biden money, right? But we do have a text message of Hunter Biden admitting that, okay? But apparently we need the bank statements, the actual bank statements. I think we're going to get those when the Republicans finally launch the impeachment inquiry, okay? I think that we're going to get this smoking gun evidence. I think that this Joe Biden, Hunter Biden thing is going to really blow up and is really going to play a big part in the next presidential election and also after that when Joe Biden is going to be begging for a pardon. But anyways, like I just told you guys, Hunter Biden actually has a text message of him stating that he gave half his income or that he gives half his income to his dad. Okay. And this Washington Post reporter who does not want to have any type of curiosity whatsoever into Hunter and Joe Biden's business dealings because, again, you know, his incentive as a liberal reporter is to cover his eyes and to pretend like there's nothing sketchy going on here and to call anybody that asks questions a conspiracy theorist. He's going to rage quit after being presented with this text message that we know exists. Okay, he's going to rage quit and say, well, you still have no evidence, right? There's no evidence and that we shouldn't even be having this conversation, okay? But I want to go ahead and play this clip. Okay, it's a smaller clip of a much longer debate. This video is like an hour long. Okay, I'll post the original video in the description. So if you guys want to watch the hour-long debate, you can. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think you're really going to gain anything out of it. But if you want to watch it, you want to watch it. I just think that it's hilarious that this guy decided to rage quit after being presented with the fact that Hunter Biden in a text message admitted that he was giving half his income to his father, right? And then you also have the Tony Bobolinsky stuff, 10% for the big guy. Again, this is stuff that the Washington Post journalist doesn't really want to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into it.
If Biden helped his son by obstructing American policy in some way, even if it's minorly in terms of everybody thinking his hands off Burisma, or more seriously in terms of pulling the trigger on Shokin,
It's just
then
this is so
that's very, very serious. It doesn't need to be criminal.
But again,
Can I read from the
no,
one?
you can't, because here's the thing: you just suggested that if if it was him trying to pull the trigger on Shokin, but again, you've offered no evidence beyond your parsing of what Devin Archer said under oath, and you're insisting that because of how he said it, he meant the opposite under oath. That therefore Shokin was actually.
You want
someone to get
evidence?
rid of.
I mean,
I don't. I got to go. Like,
evidence.
This has been great. This
Evidence.
Is, like what? Literally, I was told this is going to be 45 minutes, and we've been going. For, well over.
It's
an
a shame because this is a good conversation.
It's not a good conversation because you refuse to listen to what I'm saying to you. You asked me on to present evidence. I keep telling you.
I think you think I have to agree with you to be listening. I'm listening very carefully.
No, what I think is,
as a matter of fact, I even conceded some points that you made.
Well, that's because
I was listening.
Made valid points. Look, I'm not saying that. I do think this was a bit of a setup. I'll say that.
Is Taibbi unreliable?
I do think this was a setup.
Okay.
Taibbi absolutely has an agenda. Of course he has. There's no question.
You have no agenda?
I do have an agenda.
Okay.
My agenda
So
is
are you
to
reliable?
do my best to try and present accurate information to the public. And I have an institution behind me that holds me to account when I don't do that.
Well,
Yeah. Your agenda is to be a liberal propagandist. And the fact that this guy thinks that he is above having this conversation and that he's not even curious at all about what Joe Biden may or may not be doing, considering the evidence that we have, tells you everything about this guy and what he's about, right? And he's not being held accountable because the Washington Post is where the truth goes to die, right? That's where the truth goes to die, okay? So, again, him and his propaganda outlet that is employing him, they have no interest whatsoever in actually finding out the truth.
I think is an important consideration. But look, here's the thing. You came into this with a preset understanding and expectation.
You spent so
of what
much
this
time
was
not
gonna be.
letting me think. We could have covered a lot more ground. I just want to say, I'll say before we go that what astounded me about the press. If you answer two questions, it'd be nice.
But I mean, again, you're attacking the press because you refuse to listen to what we're saying.
Okay.
Well, you're attacking the press because you refuse to listen to us. No, he's attacking the press because you guys refuse to even look into or to talk about something that is clearly sketchy, something that clearly, if Trump was doing it, then you guys would be all over it. But this man is allegedly selling out the American people to foreign entities overseas, making policy decisions, including, but not limited to, having special prosecutors fired, okay? Also, not sanctioning Russian oligarchs who are paying off his family, right? Which I think that, come on now. I mean, we know what's going on there. The fact that there's no curiosity, he doesn't even want to talk about it. It shows you what these people are about. They're about deny. When, old school journalists would actually try to look into the truth, right? They would actually ask questions. This guy doesn't want any questions asked. None. Zero.
Is there something in particular you want to say that I haven't listened to, and then you let me ask my question?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we had to go over these things over and over and over again is evidence that you're not actually listening to what I'm saying, or you're not exceeding the point that obviously if someone is saying under oath X, you can't then just say, well, I assume he means not X, despite all the external evidence, which you have refused consistently to address. The fact that there's no evidence for, and in fact, evidence to the contrary of your central point about Shokin and Burisma. You haven't addressed that at all.
Well,
but yeah,
I would expect every time I try to get it out, you stop me.
That's not true.
Every time. There's evidence both Shokin said, there's a leaked phone call, and there was evidence yesterday in the papers yesterday that the State Department said
do you think
Shokin,
Shokin's a reliable interlocutor?
It's evidence.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, he's just like the entire point was that he was a corrupt government official who got
I have. Well, what's interesting.
So what they're arguing about here is this idea that, well, there's no evidence that Joe Biden fired Shokin because it benefited Burisma. And he's trying to claim that Devin Archer's testimony under oath suggests that firing Shokin actually did not benefit Burisma, that Burisma actually didn't want that, when that's not what Devin Archer said, right? That's something that was spun to the mainstream liberal media, guys like this who obviously didn't read the transcript. That was spun to the mainstream liberal media by Democrats like Dan Goldman, who basically tried to put words into Devin Archer's mouth to try to make it seem like Devin Archer was saying that, well, the executives at Burisma thought that having Shokin fired was a bad thing, when that's actually not true. The DC team, aka the people in Washington, they're the ones that was pushing the narrative that having the special prosecutor Victor Shokin fired would actually be a bad thing for Burisma. Now, this guy was presented with, the fact that Shokin has testified and said, yeah, I think that Joe Biden was bribed. I think that Joe Biden did it to enrich himself and his family. And this guy said, well, you can't believe Shokin. He's a corrupt prosecutor. He's corrupt. Right? You can't believe him. Don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth. Again, he's not even trying to be curious about the fact that we have all this circumstantial evidence that points to clear and obvious corruption. He just dismisses all of it and says, well, there's no evidence. Right? Again, it's just hilarious.
I never got to get it out, but what is interesting is that Shokin made something in an interview two years ago, and then Taibbi had some released transcript of a call between Biden and Poroshenko. And it's interesting how they line up. I was surprised by that. And then yesterday, something came out in the papers that said that the State Department had said that Shokin was doing a good job. So this is all...
Yeah, I saw that in the New York Post, right? That there was this one memo that came out in 2015 after there had already been this pressure on Shokin. So one memo, but that's called cherry picking. But
I would say the weakest thing you've said to me is to just dismiss the obvious telegraphing of what Devon Archer is saying in terms of Fed and spun and chess, not checkers. I mean, checkers, not chess, whatever he said. To say, well, he's trying to please Tucker Carlson. I mean, that's a leap of faith. Maybe you're right.
So let's say this. I agree.
Devon
with
Archer
you
is not.
I agree with you that Hunter Biden's activity when Joe Biden was both serving as vice president and afterward, I agree that it was sketchy. I agree that it was a bad look. I agree that particularly while he was serving as president, he ought not to have been doing that. If it emerges in the future, which it may, I absolutely concede the point that there may be direct evidence that Joe Biden took bribe money. That may come up.
What do you take from the text message to his adult daughter? Hunter's text message, I have to give 50% of my income to Pop.
I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that means.
Well,
I know it's circumstantial evidence, and you prefer that.
No, what could it be?
I have no idea.
But doesn't it?
I don't know.
Well,
I appreciate your.
Has anybody asked her?
I don't know. I don't know.
Don't you think somebody should ask her?
Okay. I'm not. I just said I don't know, and I don't know what to make of it, so I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah,
what do you want me to say?
Yeah, but you say there's no evidence, but then there's a text message where he says, "I give Pop 50% of my money." That's evidence.
Okay. Well, okay, fine.
So
it's evidence. I appreciate you having me on.
It doesn't. That something like that. Who do you think is more? I listen to that and I'm saying,
you
can free to go.
I feel you want me to leave, just walk out in the middle of this because that way you can
you can go.
Right.
Is this a standard? Really, this is the way the Washington Post handles people who disagree with them.
When I agree to be on for 45 minutes,
go,
and then
go.
I get on for an hour and 15. Yeah, that after a while I go.
Go.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So this guy, when presented with the text message that Hunter Biden says, hey, I give half my income to my father, when asked, what do you think that means? I don't know what it means. Right? I don't know what it means when Hunter says he's giving half his income to Joe. I don't know. I have no clue. Okay, so now you can't comprehend English, right? You can't understand basic English. It means exactly what he said. I give half of my income to my father, aka the money that I'm making overseas, selling nothing, right, but influence, okay? I give that to my father. It's clear what it means. But again, when presented with it, this guy, I don't know what it means. I gotta go. I'm leaving. I've been in the interview too long, right? I was only supposed to be here for 45 minutes. Again, so disingenuous. So much gaslighting, right? This is what the mainstream liberal media does. They'll tell you all day there's no evidence, and then when presented with evidence, well, I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means that Hunter said he get half his income to Joe. But that's no proof that Joe received anything, right? There's no proof. Again, once we finally get the bank statements that show that Joe Biden accepted money, because he definitely did, once we finally get it, they'll say, I don't know what the bank statement means, right? I have no clue. I don't know what it means, right? God, man. Again, it would be funnier if it did not have such a big effect on the outcome of elections and public perception in this country when it comes to the Biden crime family. These people are literally getting away with selling out the American people, with straight up corruption, with crimes because people like this guy, Philip Bump, refuses to do his damn job as a journalist and to actually look into things that they should look into just because he doesn't want to get somebody that's on his side of the political aisle in trouble. It's really a damn shame, right? It really is. But let me know what you guys say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.